ostracized, marginalized, demonized, and frozen out. She'll be discussing and offering for example. Welcome, Dr. Grabar. Then we have Dr. Timothy R. Furnish, who's a consultant to the U.S. Military, Special Operations Command, and the intelligence community on Islamic issues, holding a doctorate in Islamic, African, and world history from Ohio State University.
The Ohio State.
Dr. Furnish taught world and Middle Eastern history at Georgia College from 2000 to 2007, and has guest lectured at the Army War College, School of Advanced Military Studies, Joint Special Operations University, Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, the Defense Institute for Security Assistance Management, Monterey Institute of International Studies, the Concordia University, Irvine, Rice University, the Islamic Center of England, the Ben Gurion University in Israel, and at the annual Mahdism Conference in Tehran, Iran. He's the author of Holiest Wars, Islamic Mahdis, Their Jihads, and Osama bin Laden, and is published in such venues as the Weekly Standard, History News Network, Journal of International Security Affairs, Middle East Quarterly, Investors Business Daily, and PJ Media. Dr. Furnish also served in the U.S. Army in both enlisted and commissioned capacities. And then we have my colleague, Dr. Melvyn Fein, who's a professor of sociology at Kennesaw State University and a weekly columnist for the Marietta Daily Journal. He's a certified clinical sociologist who holds his doctorate in sociology from the City University of New York. Among his recent books are Post-Liberalism, The Death of a Dream, The Great Middle Class Revolution, and A Professionalized Society, Our Real Future. Dr. Fein is also editor of the Journal of Public and Professional Sociology. His blog site is professionalize.blogspot.com. He's also founder and executive director of the nonprofit foundation Morality Now Incorporated, found at www.moralitynow.net. We're going to begin with some opening statements from each of our speakers, and then I have a number of questions that I will pose to them. When we are done with that part of the program, then we will ask our student panelists to address you as well, and then as time permits, we will ask for questions from the audience. All right? So without further ado, let me begin, and Dr. Grabar, I'll begin.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Fein, for organizing this. It just occurred to me that I met both of my co-panelists who are in academia, not through academic venues, but online. I think around 2007, I ran across Tim Furnish's name as I was reading PJ Media, and I think he was teaching at Georgia Perimeter College, and I thought, another conservative around here. I have to get in touch with him, and that's how I've met a lot of people over the years. And he was very nice to me, helped me out, and introduced me to an editor at PJ Media. I did also teach at Georgia Perimeter College for a few years until the president of the college found out about my writing in the Journal Constitution, ironically, on freedom of speech and thought for students. And it was a column on the freedom to hate for students. And Professor Fein, I ran across maybe a year or two ago as I was reading the Marietta Daily Journal, and I thought, I must meet him too. And so he has helped me out as well, and we got to talking and met him at other venues and meetings, and so here we are. But academia is a very lonely place for the conservative. You have hardly anyone to talk to. You don't feel free to speak your mind. In 2004, as I was teaching at a state university, Clayton State University, during the Democratic primaries in 2004, I remember being in the bullpen with all the adjuncts. And they all started talking about the Democratic candidates, and I was trying to just pretend I was grading papers. And they said, well, who are you supporting? And I said, none of them. And there was this astounded silence. But anyway, I decided to start Dissident Prof because I've come across a lot of colleagues across the country like my friends over here, and they are in the same boat that I am in, and they all have stories about how they're either socially ostracized or professionally ostracized, can't even get the job interviews. Their curriculum vitae are just thrown away. So I have 6 very entertaining, amusing stories here in Exile that I encourage you to buy the book after the talk. But anyway, that's how I got around to starting Dissident Prof, and I know that my CV is probably just thrown into the garbage pile when it's received by hiring committees because of the scholarship I do, which sees value in Western civilization and our literary heritage. And finally, I would like to say that I am actually an immigrant from a communist country. My parents brought me here from what was then communist Yugoslavia, and I remember going back as a kid for a visit, and my parents trying to talk to my uncles about politics, and my uncles refused to say anything. They talked in whispers, and I'm seeing the same thing on our campuses today, and that's one of the reasons why I chose Dissident Prof. We are dissidents, and we do face censorship and punishment for expressing our views. And thank you very much for having me here.
Tim Furnish.
Thank you, sir. I just remember the last time I was in this room, I was at a stage combat class a couple of years ago here because I like to pretend I'm a thespian sometimes. And so I'm hoping that the intellectual give and take here will be stage combat and not real combat. So let's strive for that. Just a couple things I want to say briefly because a lot of what I want to talk about is further down the agenda. But I just want to say that I interviewed for the job here a few years ago when they were creating a Middle East history position, and I will go into this more in depth later, but I did not get the job because I was told straight to my face I was too conservative. And I went home and talked to my wife, who's an attorney, and I said, now, could they say to you, you're too straight, oh yeah, they could probably say you're too straight, you're too gay, you're too transgendered, you're too black, you're too anything, you're too old, certainly can't say you're too old, which I wasn't quite as old then, so. But it was interesting and a bit mad. It's kind of amusing now, but that a search committee person felt comfortable telling me to my face I was too conservative to work in an institution. I just thought it was amazing. And I'll go into that more later. It was based really on my scholarship, and that was the doubly damning thing from my point of view toward the people on the search committee. Not all of them, a couple of them, was that they were classifying my scholarship, which was using Arabic sources to Arabic Islamic sources, mind you, to examine issues like jihad and Islamic history. That was somehow deemed conservative. So we've gotten to a point in America where certainly in my field, which is what I want to focus on later on, in my field, Islamic Middle Eastern studies, actually examining what a civilization or religion may believe in their own words is politicized. So that's just unfortunate. It's not quite strong enough to describe that. So we will go into that more later. I just want to leave you with the other thing here at the beginning. A few years ago, I was in Istanbul doing some research. I was at the American Research Institute in Turkey. And if you've never been to Istanbul, try to go. They have not work study, but travel abroad here, go to Istanbul, trust me. But I was at the American Research Institute in Turkey doing some research in Turkey. And, like Mary, every night, there were probably about 12 or 15 other academics there, and people would get together for dinner at night. And to a man and woman, they all assumed that, George Bush was the biggest idiot to walk upright, if he even did indeed walk upright. That everyone there shared the same view. I mean, you can think whatever you want about George Bush, but to think that everyone shares the same view was ridiculous. And I was there for 2 weeks. So for a few days I didn't say anything. One day we were all having tea, which is the thing to do in Istanbul when you can't get liquor. And they were going on and on with the usual sort of like, ha, how stupid is everyone that likes Bush? I said I voted for Bush twice. And a professor from Northwestern, who shall remain nameless, not that anyone would probably care or know, her jaw literally dropped open. She looked at me and said, I thought you said you had a PhD. Oh. So that's where we're at.